Hello.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you, Ken?
Good. How are you, Dave?
Whew, I just almost twisted my ankle running back to here when I heard the music start.
Yeah, I was hoping you were gonna make it in time, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be starting the show by myself." But, um, yeah, we're all here, and hopefully
Oh,
we all
yeah.
stay here. So,
I'm having internet connections and I hope it ends with the last bump. So, having internet connection problems. I also haven't slept a lot in the last since Sunday.
well, that doesn't help either. But, what else have you done this week besides not sleep?
Well, the reason why I haven't slept is because we went to Epic Universe with my family. We'll explain a little bit about that in a little bit, but that took up from Sunday until yesterday. We went only one day, and
Mm,
then other than that, it was just been trying, not relaxing because you never relax when you go away to a theme park. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You just are there.
yeah, it's fun and exhausting at the same time.
Yeah, so that's how that went, and I have some advice for parents of young children when going to theme parks. So you'll hear that in a little bit. Other than that, yeah, just trying to
W
get in ready for for Christmas now that ministry is starting to really pick up. I don't know
Yeah.
about you. I have something every weekend except one this month.
Yeah, we
Um,
have a lot of stuff going on at church and stuff, so, and on top of that, I've been doing some project stuff at church besides working and trying to get that stuff done. So yeah, it's been busy. I did get some time last weekend. It was Thursday night, so Thanksgiving night. Of course,
yeah.
we had family over and everything. And Thursday night, a bunch of us were still at the house, and somebody put on the movie Home Alone. And so I sat and watched Home Alone, and when I was done, I realized I've never actually sat and watched Home Alone. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've
Really?
never seen it from beginning to end. So, yeah, I wasn't never it's like it never really thought about it.
Hmm.
So I got to watch it, and I was like, it's not bad," you know? Uh, I thought the idea of Kevin getting left behind, the way they did it was actually plausible.
In that time period, yeah.
Yeah, and then, the part about the robbers persistently trying to rob that house with him in there, completely implausible because how would they know he hadn't called the police or would call the police or his parents weren't right around the corner coming home? But that aside, it was a pretty good movie for a Christmas movie. So,
So, did you know that that is a Christian Christmas movie?
a Christian Christmas movie?
Yes.
I did not know that.
The neighbor with the shovel, where's
Uh-huh.
his injuries on his
Um,
hands?
I don't remember actually.
They were on his palms.
Oh yeah? He's supposed to be
Yeah,
like Jesus or something?
it's exactly right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Get a chance to rewatch it, it's a story of salvation where Kevin repents basically at the end of the movie, and, he sees that his life has been an error and he needs to change his ways, and
Okay.
so it
I
is
saw that
a
part. Yeah.
yeah, so there's the hijinks and all that stuff, and the hijinks are great, but yeah, that's totally a movie of the late '80s, early '90s because if, Kevin was forgotten by his mom, like, it'd be, like, one text later because even he at 8 would have a phone. Be like,
Yeah.
"Mom, where are you?"
Yeah.
And
Where
and,
where
uh,
is everybody?
and the whole movie would have been over in 10 seconds flat.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Yeah, what have we watched? So other than one of the movies that we talked about, and I have a confession, Ken, I did not watch the Hallmark movie between last time and this time, and I had a week and a half to do it. So I'm sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Inexcusable. We'll take care of that though. We have ways of taking care of that.
And then, but I did watch the Jonas Brothers movie. I did watch that. Did some gaming. That's pretty much. I've been in this, just been gaming a whole lot when I'm not working. What is this? What are these comments now? And the scene in the church. Yes, there is a lot of things. Oh, I know. I did not watch the Hallmark movie. And would you believe it was my plan to make us watch Hallmark movies every week? I
Mm. Well, although the
Ken,
Jonas Brother was probably just as hallmarky. So
oh man, we'll have to get into that, but that's kind of what
we'll
we've been
talk
up
about
to.
that.
Thanksgiving was great. I
Yeah.
had my grandfather over. Just really simple. The kids had it were good. Yeah, so it's been a good time since then. But that's kind of what we've been up to as far as on the media side. Been following the what was it? Basically, the Disney Corporation has announced that they're done with the woke stuff in their films. I don't know if you heard this.
No.
So they're going to back off of all the agenda. The problem is that all the movies and the TV shows they have in the lineup, all of them have it all cooked in because it takes like 3 to 5 years for the movies to move out. So,
Okay, yeah.
so
So
we're
delayed
still gonna have a
reaction.
few years of woke, but apparently the Disney Corporation decided to get away from it because hey, guess what? It makes them no money.
Yeah. Well,
So,
better late than never, I guess.
well, I've been burned so many times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what they do the thing where, and it's not just them. It's like the first season is great and has like a few things that are weird, and then the next season they drop the shoe on you, and you're like,
Mhm.
"What am I doing?"
Yep.
Um, Famously, you and I we ran into that with Picard.
Yes.
Y'all get a chance to watch Picard. I gave up on it immediately. Ken is a trooper, as you guys can tell. He hung in. I guess the last season that you saw was actually very good,
It was
but
fantastic. It was
but
it's a
them
shame they only did 3 seasons and they wasted the 2nd one, but yeah, it was the 3rd one was fantastic.
But,
So,
the bad language, the money is like, that's not Star Trek, So,
no. No.
but, they, they turned it around. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if you ever watched it back in the day. They announced that they're bringing back Stargate with, um, I was a big Stargate fan when I was like a teenager.
I watched it a few times, and of
Uh,
course,
you know,
the original movie I watched, but the series, the 1st series, I watched some of it.
well, Richard Dean Anderson was the main actor in that
Yeah.
film, in that series, and he is a MacGyver. So MacGyver doing, fighting aliens is a very fun concept to think about.
Yeah.
No mullet though, no mullet. But that's kind of the big news that I've seen. I've been kind of off of the social media, but that's the stuff I've heard. Did you hear that the Zootopia movie made $500 million?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah, so they just released it over Thanksgiving weekend, and it was
That
not,
that's
huh?
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, the domestic market, the American market made like just shy of 200 million, but the Chinese market went ham. And they went to go see the movie, and so the movie made tons of money.
Yeah.
Um, I think that there's something to do with the animals, and the animals I think they're it's not a coincidence that there are a lot of them are zodiac animals for the Chinese zodiac,
Yeah.
and there's layers to these things. The CEO of the company had a voice role in the movie.
Huh.
So Disney used to voice characters here and there. So now the
Yeah.
current, I guess, is doing that. But
Yeah.
that made $500 million. I purposely didn't look up how Wicked for Good did, so not to give you shell shock
Yeah.
PTSD.
That's right, that movie came out.
Don't worry, in
So
about 6 months, I'll have you watch it.
yeah, I was gonna not say anything and hope you forgot about it, but I can't count on that, I guess.
Oh, it made $400 million at the global box office. There you go. That probably made money.
Yeah.
So what is this? I'll believe it when I see it, talking about the woke stuff. Probably awful, but can it be any worse than the first one? Yeah, yeah. The music sure did.
Yeah. Well, if it makes enough money, that's really what the name of the game is for them. But
Yeah,
as
well,
as it should be, and if you're in the business of making money, but,
I
um
think we've talked about this before, and we won't get too far on it. I think, for example, the way to fix or to revive Star Wars is you just use the books where Luke can like pull a Star Destroyer out of space.
yeah.
And if you did like 6 films of that, Star Wars would make tons of money. Everyone would be talking about it. There wouldn't be anyone who'd miss it. and I think you could fix it real fast. The
Yeah.
answer is not woke. The answer is to lean into awesome. Just to, like
Yep.
just do awesome stuff. You know,
Yep.
I think
Yep.
that's what they did with Picard. If I remember you telling me that.
Oh, yeah. The original first season was, we're gonna stay away from Next Generation. It's just gonna be about Picard. And the first season was okay, but then the second season they went total woke and buried that. And then third season they're like, "You know what? Let's make it Next Generation again." And boom, everything came together and it was like, man, if they'd only done this the first season and the second season, it would have been fantastic. But the third season was definitely one to watch. And they brought back a lot of the key characters you saw during the series, they brought them back along the way too. So of course, the cast, but then you had other people that were in there. That some of them they kind of left, you know, loose ends in the series, and they tied that up. So it was done well. Um,
So you
Unfortunately, they won't go. You know, they wouldn't do any more because Patrick Stewart only said he'd do 3 seasons total. So that was
so
that.
you're saying that they made Picard great again, or they made Picard Next Generation again.
Yes, yes, and it was the perfect move. It was the perfect move. But
Oh my, that's really really funny. Well, why don't we get into our? I miss talking with you. I hope you know that it was.
yeah, no, it's been a while. It's been a
So
while.
it's funny. He and I talked. We do our wrap stuff beforehand and just compare notes and set out the course. You felt like it had been not that long ago, but for me, because we went away, it felt like I haven't talked to you in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Um, it's
yeah,
funny how that works.
yeah, the perception. So you went away and, you went to Epic Universe, is that correct?
Yeah, so we went to Epic on Monday, and so just what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all my review on it, my thoughts on it. So,
Yeah.
um, I purposely went in blind. I watched as little as about I could, stayed away from every piece of information I could find. My wife and I weren't certain we are going to do it until we learned that they were going to decorate the park for Christmas, which this is
Mm.
a brand new theme park. There hasn't been a major brand new theme park open in the United States since the 90s.
Huh.
So, and I mean major. I'm not talking about like, some of the little ones you find here or there locally. And I'm also not talking about like they added a new section, like they've done, like they reimagined at Magic Kingdom, Fantasyland, they made new Fantasyland. We're talking
Right.
like everything ground up. And so we're like, it'd be kind of cool to go to the first Christmas, and we heard they weren't going to decorate, and then they decided to decorate, and we're like, okay, we're going to pull the trigger. So we pulled the trigger and we went on Monday, not knowing anything about it. I knew what the worlds were. They had a Mario world, a How to Train Your Dragon world, a classic movie monsters horror section, a Harry Potter section. Am I missing one? And then, of course, the main area, which is the called Celestia Park.
Okay.
And so the Celestia Park, I didn't know anything. The theme of it is it's like steampunk meets the Greek pantheon,
Huh.
and like the star the I'm doing real good. You could tell the problem with going to the theme park is I have not slept in days. Meets it's not astrology, it's the constellations, all that
Okay.
stuff. And so it was immaculate. It was amazing. Yeah, I got it right here. So there's Super Mario, Isle of Berk, Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, Darkmoor, and the Celestia Park. Those are the areas.
So have you
If
been to, the Harry Potter in the Islands of Adventure?
only once, I did Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley once. I think it was the first year I worked at Suncoast. We did that.
So how did they compare, those 2 parks compare?
Um,
I was just
all
curious.
of Epic Universe was amazing.
Okay.
You could tell they thought out every detail. They did not pull their punches. they built something that feels like you're in a big place.
Yeah.
Everything from the water show, like I came to find out that they had this fantastic water show that was implemented or designed by the people who did the Bellagio in Las Vegas.
Huh.
They the music they had different, so because they had Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, Darkmoor, Super Mario, and How to Train Your Dragon, they would every now and then the music would change, and you'd suddenly see, for instance, all the water across the entirety of the central area start turning blue, white, blue, red, and green and yellow, all the colors you see in Super Mario, and then you'd hear
Okay.
the all across the whole park, and the
Huh.
water would dance to that. When you
Huh.
went into Super Mario Land, you go through these big portals, and then as you're going in, you hear the sinking of the warp pipe. It goes dit dit dit, and then you're in it, and
Okay.
it's
Huh.
amazing how
That's cool.
it is. And it's not the area isn't huge, but because of how they build it, you feel like you're little in this huge space.
Yeah.
And we could not get on a single ride in the Super Mario section because the shortest time was 135 minutes.
So what
Um,
day did you go?
we went on Monday.
Monday.
Um,
Okay. Huh.
and it was epic. The Mario section, we went to the Donkey Kong area. That was excellent. And so if you can't get on a ride, they have things that are interactive in the park where, for instance, in Mario, they have the blocks they break. You can go up to them and hit them and they make sounds. Or
Oh,
in
cool.
the Donkey Kong area, which is the only one of those that exists on Earth because they have Super Mario Land both in California and in Japan as well, but neither of them have the Donkey Kong area.
Oh, okay.
They have the drums and they have the different things that light up. That was astounding. We went to the Isle. We went to the Isle of Berk and How to Train Your Dragon. I've seen those movies. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, I've heard it was a sleeper area, and it totally was. It Viking themed all the way down. They did have some Christmas stuff in there, and great section for kids to play in.
Mm.
It had some of the best roller coasters were there.
Mm.
Humongous, humongous section of park. You could go and touch the dragon robots, and it was too windy the day we were there, but regularly they have massive drones that are shaped like dragons fly over the section of the park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
so I
cool.
don't know if you know this. When they built Galaxy's Edge at Disney, they built 2 SUV-sized X-Wings drones, and
Wow.
they flew them exactly once.
Huh.
And now they're like in museums across the country, the 2 of them. At How to Train Your Dragon, they built the dragons and they fly them pretty regularly. They're
Wow.
humongous.
Huh.
Huge. Yeah, it had a huge kids playground. It was amazing. Oh man, Mark, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, I'll
uh,
tell you, we're supposed to go in May, so this gets me excited to go.
I
Um,
would say don't sleep on it. It is the Super Mario thing is great. The Harry Potter section, I know some Christians have some problems with Harry Potter or whatever. If you just look at it for the design aspect, if you want to just limit yourself to that,
yeah.
you go through the Harry Potter portal, and what you hear is, if you've ever read the books, there's this thing called the time turner that allows you to go backwards in time, and it's like an hourglass, and you flip it. So as you're walking through the Harry Potter portal, you hear the hourglass ticking backwards, and so you can hear the tick, 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 like a clock
Okay.
going back, and it transports you to 1920s Paris, and everything's Art Deco, which is one of my favorite design styles.
Huh.
Because we went at Christmas time, you everything was decked out for Christmas. There are trees and garland everywhere. When we
Mm.
first came into the area, they had 3 actors that were playing students. And so one was from the French Harry Potter school, one was from the British Harry Potter school, and one was from the American Harry Potter school.
Mm.
And they all are just like walking around and just interacting with people. There was live music where they're playing magical instruments, which is really cool.
Mm.
And then because of the movies, they have these things called aurors, which are like magic FBI agents. and you have these guys like eyeing you up and like interviewing to make sure you're not a bad guy.
Huh.
And it was they're in like set timepiece. It was just amazing. And then on top of that, so funniest thing happened when we were there. We couldn't go on any ride in the Harry Potter section. We have my littles. My oldest is very little. She can't get on any of the rides, and we just couldn't do it. But while we were
Yeah.
there, the number one ride in the park, which is the Battle of the Ministry, which is where Harry, Ron, and Hermione, after the movies, take on Dolores Umbridge, who was one of the bad guys in the books. And the ride went down.
Huh.
So it just they had to shut it down. And I was just waiting there as you know, we're taking care of our little ones. Little children have a lot. You'd be surprised how many needs someone so little has.
Oh, yeah. I remember those days.
Um, and so we're having a little one needs, and we're addressing them. And by we, I mean my wife at that moment was. And so I am standing outside with two of my kids, and then suddenly the guys from the Battle of the Ministry ride come out, and they open the ride. And I'm not kidding. Everyone from across the whole park ran as fast as they could into this section of the park. There were people, so it went from having a no wait to a 3-hour wait inside of 7 minutes.
Wow.
It was like a
Wow.
rush. I told Elena, my wife, I said, I should have just got in line. I would have been on there in 10 seconds. I could have
Yeah.
just, because if this is the ride, I was waiting right here.
Yeah.
And I should have just got on and just, did the thing. We went inside the queue. We didn't go on the ride. We went into the queue of the Battle for the Ministry. They laid, Ken, you have to see it to believe it. They laid the most ornate tile work inside the ministry by hand. And it's not like, oh, it stops being real after this tall. It is like, you know how annoying tile is to do.
It can be
They,
tedious. Yeah.
they did, I want to say, like, you've been in my church. They did more tile work than we have room in my sanctuary.
Huh. Wow.
And it was like 2, maybe 3 stories up.
Wow.
And
Huh.
it was astounding. I saw some pictures of it. It didn't do it justice what they did. They pulled out every single stop in developing that. Now
Hmm.
I'd seen Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade. Those are amazing. They did the same stuff. Okay, so yeah, the queue is like 5 stories tall. I don't know about 5, but it's pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like a beautiful Hallmark movie in my house right now, the kind where everyone freezes to death. Yeah, so I'll say this, just some tips about going. Number 1, don't go to a theme park with kids that are underneath the age of 3.
Yeah. We
Um,
waited till 5 years old before we started going to Disney. So it
now
just
the
gets it
it's
can
too
be
much.
tough. Yeah, it's too much.
Now I'll
Especially if
say
you're there
this,
all day.
I went because we were given a gift and someone gave us a nice gift, so we went.
Yeah.
Um, I would, if you're going on a vacation to Disney or Universal with your children are underneath the age of 5, just be honest with everyone. You're going on a vacation for yourself.
Yeah.
Your kids will not remember. You will actually not have as good of a time as you think you'll have
Yeah.
because you can't do anything. Number 2, you're going to be tired. Don't go all day. And number 3, Epic is humongous. You have to have good footwear. If you do not have good shoes on, you are going to regret it.
Yeah.
Um, I would say if you're going to go to Epic, right now it's hard to do, but it's definitely a 2-day affair. We didn't even go to 1/5 of the park because our kids are too little, and it's the classic movie Monsters. And some people say that is tied for the second or first and best, along with the Harry Potter section.
Mm.
Um, and there's just so much to do. Unfortunately, you're gonna probably have to buy one of those passes that allows you to jump the lanes because there's just a lot to do, and everyone else wants to do it too.
I'm
So
surprised for a Monday that there was that many people there. Just because it's it's in the middle of a school year. I would have thought Monday would be because when we went back in May to the other 3 parks, and Wednesday and Thursday was pretty light. Friday was, school day. They had schools from all over the place come on Friday, so it was packed,
Yeah.
but Wednesday and Thursday were light, so maybe it's because of, people took a long holiday weekend or something, but I'm surprised to hear there was that many people there on a Monday.
I think that's what it is. I think it's because it was a Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
People were still in town. Uh, when you go to the Orlando parks, generally the first 2 weeks of December are slow, but, Universal, everyone delayed buying tickets to go to Universal until Epic was done, and
Mm.
some people make, like, a tradition where they're going at Christmas every year, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so, uh, I, yeah, this is right. The lines were long, but really didn't feel all that crowded. I just think there weren't as many of attractions, and yeah, and the reality was that some of them were down.
Mm.
Um, yeah, get 2 days at Epic. We were all there all day. We definitely didn't see everything. Yeah. The food was good too. I could say that.
Okay.
But definitely don't bring littles unless you just it's just a waste of your money and your time. If you want to go away, go somewhere a lot quieter and slower. Um, you don't want to be that family where you have a child that's just screaming the whole time. And let me tell you, I
Yeah.
saw that, and I've seen it going to Disney World because 'cause we've been going to Disney pretty consistently since, 2014. You see that family, and there's one kid who's, like, missed 10 naps in a row and
Yeah.
is just
Yeah.
yelling and is having an awful time, and let
Yeah.
me tell you, you'll have an awful time. Heavily recommend. Yes, Pizza Moon was really good. It's
Mm.
a pizza restaurant, but it's like they try to do Blaze style pizza, but they actually do it really well. But Blaze Pizza does it well too. Um, yeah, can
Good,
recommend. You'll have a good time. Uh,
good.
my wife in the chat said we should all go together, and maybe we should in coming May. But yeah, that's all I can think
Yeah.
about that. Definitely do that. Problem I have though is I just have I was not sleeping at all. It just you're so on that then you try to go to bed and you don't go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So highly
Oh,
recommend. Give it a chance if you get a chance.
definitely. Well, Dave, I think this moves us into our next segment, the long-awaited Hallmark movie,
I hope I
review.
hope Mark is still with us to hear about Hallmark.
Oh, he's I'm sure he's, waiting with, on pins and needles waiting to hear about this. Let's do our special intro, and
Oh
then we'll
yeah.
jump into this.
I
Well,
can't believe
this week, I got to watch a special movie,
it.
and, Christmas on Duty. There they are with their their utility uniforms that they're not supposed to be wearing in public. Um, so right off the bat, I'm looking at this, and of course, what's the storyline, Dave? We all know what the storyline is. It's like every Hallmark movies. Do I even need to say what the storyline is?
Let me
Well,
guess. He's a small town sheriff and she's from a big city and she's running away from her troubles. And through the miracle of Christmas, they fall in love.
actually, their fathers were rivals in the military. Okay,
Oh,
and
okay.
so they've kind of been rivals too, and then all of a sudden, magically, they come together in this movie. But right off the bat, in the beginning of this movie, the two of them, again, let me show this picture again. Big, strong guy, petite little woman. Okay, picture that, and they go head to head in the training thing. They go through the obstacle course, and of course, she beats him. I mean, that's of
That's
course,
real. That's
right? That's definitely real. So right off the bat, I'm like, how much of this stuff is fake and how much of it is real? So I Googled, I kind of already knew this, but I used Google, you know. I think maybe the Hallmark writers should be using Google too, but I don't think they know what Google is or they don't know how to use it. But Marine women and Marine men have two different standards. There's two different sets of standards for entry into the Marines for men versus women.
That sounds bad.
It's true though, but just like there's two, men's sports and women's sports, um, not to get into all the, that's opening Pandora's box, but basically the idea of this petite little woman.
Women shouldn't be in the military.
Wait, did I hear something? Did I
What?
hear
I
something?
mean, anyway,
Let me say this. If there is a woman out there that can meet the standards that men have to meet, then she deserves to go in the military. That's all I'm saying. Someone built like an ox, big and strong and fast, okay, we'll allow it. But to your point, if we have to dumb down or or drop the standard to allow women in, that's the elephant in the room in that argument. We
I
are,
think at least two of the ladies in the chat totally agree with me on they shouldn't be there. But anyway,
yeah, no, I'm with you there, and for that reason. Um, but anyway, so she of course beats him, and then I'm watching, this whole thing plays out where okay, they get stuck together because there's a storm coming in, of course, right? It's Christmas time. There's a
oh yeah,
snowstorm coming in, like every Hallmark movie has, and of course the toy store trucks can't get to the toy stores to deliver the toys for the kids' presents on Christmas. So the two of them have to go in a army truck and go somehow make it to these places and pick up toys for the kids in this small town. Well, that was what was the base commander told them they could do. Um, I'm getting ahead of myself though, Dave, because the two of them had like this rival thing going on at the base Christmas party.
oh,
And so then somehow Kate got all over the base commander or his wife or something. So he was mad at them. So he made them do this. But throughout all this, they're still wearing this gear,
wow,
their utility uniforms. Now, I Googled this, and the Marines, if they have even a Christmas party on base, they don't wear the utility uniforms. They use their dress uniforms.
hmm.
Or their they have basically dress uniform, service uniform, and then the utility uniform. So obviously the dress uniforms for formal occasions, service for like daily wear, and utility uniform is for combat and training. But the entire movie they were wearing their utility uniforms. So in the Marines, you're not allowed to go out just around randomly in public wearing your utility uniform, but they did. So right there, I'm like, that's interesting. Um, I guess Hallmark doesn't actually check their facts. The other thing that the base commander, now when he was wearing his utility uniform everywhere, you couldn't tell he had a gut, but he did have a gut because the one scene where he was at his house in a Christmas sweater, he had this big gut. I'm like, I looked this up too. Any active Marines are required to keep up their physical, standards, um, so that they're always ready for battle, which this guy clearly was not. So that was another thing that really bothered me about the movie. Um, that you had your typical stuff, your typical Hallmark stuff in the movie. Um, I don't know, what do I say? At the end, they got together, their fathers reconciled, everyone,
Wow,
laughing and hugging, and everything was wonderful at the end. And there was candy canes flying in the air.
wow.
Um,
Okay, so let me ask the questions. Did they exchange an ornament?
now that you asked that, I don't think they did.
Did they exchange were their Hallmark cards visible
There
at
probably
any
was
point?
because they were in a lot of gift stores. So I think the
Um,
answer to that is yes.
was Santa Claus a cat in the cast? Was Santa
Santa
Claus around?
Claus, I Santa Claus was there somewhere. Yeah. No,
Because they
because
all
yeah, no, yeah, because he dressed as Santa Claus. He
okay,
he
yeah.
dressed as Santa Claus, yes.
Okay. Um, let's see. Was there any kind of baking?
Yes. Yes, there was baking.
It's
and
like there's a formula here, Ken.
there were omelets being made, there was baking being done. Yes, all of the above. Martha
It's
Stewart
so
wasn't there, but I half expected her to show up any second.
Oh, Mark, we are actively reviewing the Hallmark movie right now. I was in the middle of a shower recovering from my frostbite. I don't think water should go on frostbite, if I recall correctly.
Oh,
so
yeah,
there
well,
was
Mark, you're not missing much, let me tell you.
there was Hallmark cards. Did they have coffee or did they have hot
Oh,
cocoa?
I think there was both. There was
Okay, coffee makes sense
definitely
'cause military,
there was
but did they
definitely
have hot
coffee
cocoa?
mugs. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay, let's see. So there are rivals that are reconciled at Christmas. There was he dressed up as Santa Claus. She okay, so she was able to best him in feats of strength, which is, not a thing.
Speed and strength.
Wow,
So,
okay. Did a vehicle break down?
yes.
Okay. Wow. So that's a that's okay, that's another one. I have like a checklist in my brain. Um
We're gonna have to use this checklist every week.
yeah, if you just there's that bingo card. We got to use it again. Um was there one guy that she was interested in and then she meets him and then she's interested in him towards the end of the film?
Well, he was interested in her the entire time, and then
Okay.
she wasn't really interested in him until all of a sudden, magically, she was.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was one of those things. Like,
So
she kinda, like, broke his heart in a way, but he didn't let her know that. And then, years later, they meet up again on an army base or Marine base, and then, kind of everything popped up again. And then, throughout the course of it, you could see that he was interested in her, and then she finally came around, and, you know, daisies and lollipops and
uh
Hallmark cards.
So, and in the holiday touchdown, A Bill's Love Story, that's the full name, by the way.
Mm.
He had loved her and she had no idea. So they went with that one for they did the
Oh,
same thing twice.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Did anyone freeze to death? I'm sure Ken got close himself.
No, no one froze to death, although it was cold, so
So
and snowy.
see, Mark, here's the thing. I like these films because they're just so cheesy. Like, to me, the fact that I could just I didn't watch the movie because I forgot. I was because we're doing all the theme park stuff.
Sure.
Um, I no, I wouldn't skip this one because I love cheese. The cheesier the film, the more I'm laughing. You might be getting jaw pain from how cringing you are, but for
Yeah.
me, I'm just almost falling over because I literally listed off every single thing happening in that movie, and I didn't even need to watch it.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know what though? So my wife, for those who don't know, she writes she's an author, she ghost writes, she's working on her own books. She'll tell you that there's a formula to these movies that they basically do every single time. And the
Yeah.
reality is that people eat them up.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, I'll give them that. They got a formula and it works for their fan base. So,
yeah.
if it works, then, why change it,
And then
right?
on top of that, people fall. So did your mom, because it's always like a mom, did your mom or your grandma watch soap operas when you were a kid?
My mom didn't. I don't think my grandmother did either, actually.
Because
So,
why I ask is because soaps are like daytime soaps. My mother and my grandmother watched daytime soaps all the time. It was it's the same exact kind of stuff. Now, Hallmark doesn't feel like the same kind of slop you get from a soap opera. I don't
right.
even know if they do them anymore. But yeah, people like predictable. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You know? And guy meets girl, guy gets girl, the end. Everyone wants a love story, and I get it because it's victory and Love feels great. I shouldn't be so dismissive about it. Love is great. And
I like making fun of these things. I
and
will give it
that's
that. So,
I love how cheesy they are. And you know what? So what I was making about soap operas is you watch a soap opera. If I was to literally go turn on this one of the soap operas that my mother watched from the 90s, I could bet you that some of the actors are still in it 30 years later.
probably, yeah.
And I know with Hallmark, they literally have a section where you can choose the actor and watch the movies he or she have been in exclusively. And
Huh.
so people they love that there's the same actors. They love the consistency, the predictableness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is Murder She Wrote considered a soap opera? You know, I never saw Murder She Wrote.
We need to talk about that sometime though, because I'm pretty sure Jessica Fletcher, who's the star, is actually a serial killer. So,
Oh, wow. So, but yeah, I get it. I get it, but oh man, I love the cheesy schlock. Well, Kelly, don't tell me you have seen Murder She Wrote and I haven't.
that's one show my mom used to watch was Murder, She Wrote. So I've seen probably all of them. But
Wow. Okay. It's just Murder She Wrote, a soap opera. See, I didn't even know it was a TV show. I thought it was a movie.
oh no, it was a TV show. Angela Lansbury, that was on for probably 10 years, and
Wow.
it was very popular when it came out. So
Mark, I didn't mean to make you feel old. It's a show called Murder She Wrote. It's old. I
yeah, it in the little she lived in a little town called Cabot Cove in Maine, and people were being murdered every week. It's like, wow,
I've heard
right?
about this.
Yeah.
They did a study on this show where had it been a real town, the murder rate would have been the highest in human civilization,
Oh
right?
yeah, it Cabot Cove is a very dangerous place to live.
Like,
That's
yeah,
all
they're
I'm
just
saying.
killing people left, right, and center to the point where that. So, was it that show or was it another one? There was like a British equivalent where it was like some small town in England where there were so many murders they had to move the show out of the town to London because they would have the whole little village would have been dead.
That's what they did with this show, though. They
That's
started
what it was.
she would travel to different places because she was an author. So she'd go to New York, and all of a sudden someone's getting murdered in her hotel, and then next week she's in Paris and someone's getting murdered over there. So it's like everywhere she went, someone got murdered. So you put two and two together. I'm telling you,
We'll have to watch
she was a
that one.
serial killer.
But I'll say this. There is no serial killing in Hallmark Plus movies. That's just the serial method. Oh man, I can't wait. So,
Yeah.
all right, I didn't watch it. Um,
Well, Dave, you
I
watched something
apologize.
else though. You watched something else, right?
Well, before we get on to the something else, I just want people to see this is what we'll be doing next Hallmark movie is the new
Oh
one,
yeah.
a Grand Old Opry.
Yikes.
Oh man, so last time it was NFL football and a romance. Now it's country music and a romance.
Oh, my two favorite things.
Okay, so I legitimately actually do like country music. How do you doing what you do not like country music?
I hate country music. I always have. And on the job sites, I hear it all. My entire whether my career starting in New Hampshire and then ending up in Florida, everyone around me would listen to country music, but I've never been a fan of it. So, I just tolerate it if I
I was
have
gonna say
to,
in
but
Florida, do you hear a lot more trumpet music
in
now on the job
Florida,
site?
well, okay, yeah, you hear some of that too. It depends on who's working that day. Yes. But yeah, no, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of, the thing about the trumpet music is every song sounds exactly the same, but,
Are you
pretty
saying
sure it is the
country
same
music
song.
sounds different to you?
What's that?
You're saying every country music song does not sound exactly the same?
Well, that does too, but, if you play it backwards, you get all your stuff back.
I love
Um,
that song. I love that song by the Rascal Flats. Anyway,
there's a handful of country songs that I actually do like, but Um, and I think the more modern stuff I like better than some of the older stuff. Um, but yeah, most of it I don't care for. But yeah,
Yeah, I
this ought to be a challenge.
all of it's becoming like partying cowboys or drunk cowboys, which I don't really care for either. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think a Grand Old Opry Christmas is gonna be stellar. If y'all have access to Hallmark Plus, get the trial version. You can watch it too. And we're gonna discuss
Mm,
this a week from today. And
yes.
Ken, in order to atone for my dereliction, I will watch the military one that we're talking about. So I'll do a 2-for-1,
Okay.
and I'll make good on my promise there. I'm actually looking forward to the cheese of this one. I really am. What did Mark say? There's a therapy available for those who like country music. I suggest they avail themselves to it. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if you just get a chance to listen to you have a country song backwards by Rascal Flatts, you just are gonna laugh. We're talking about formulaic music. Man, does country music have a formula? Like
Yeah, definitely.
I'm my own guy, and no one could judge me but Jesus. And I love trucks. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that you
It
it's a lot more than
they
that. Some
are
people
a lot of them are patriotic too, which you give them that. They'll give them that, that much, but
but
yeah.
the alternative for you, Ken, is just a lot of trumpet music.
Yeah, or put on some noise canceling headphones, or I
if
just leave the job site. So,
if anyone gets what I'm referencing there, good for them.
oh boy. Well, Dave, we've both actually watched this next movie, The Jonas Brothers
Yeah.
Christmas, and I'm gonna let you take the lead on this because I know
Oh
you're
man.
excited to. But I want to hear your thoughts on this wonderful, wonderful movie.
So we got Disney Plus just to watch the Jonas Brothers Christmas. We were, like I said, we were at the theme parks. We went to Disney Springs, and I'm not going to show the picture because I got my family, my little ones in it. But they had a very merry Jonas Brothers Christmas, like big setup at Disney Springs.
Okay.
And as soon as we could get home last night, I had just driven for a few hours and then had to put a whole bunch of kids under 6 to bed. My wife and I stayed up to watch the Jonas Brothers Christmas. And Ken, I have to confess, I actually thought the music was pretty good. Uh,
The music was, yeah, they do
um,
have talent. They do have talent.
oh,
Um,
they music was good. I don't really understand what the plot was. They're
I
trying to
don't
get
either.
home for Christmas. Um,
It's kinda like there was a plot, but then there was, like, a subplot because in the what's his name and the girl get together, so but it's like that yeah, it was kinda confusing as to what exactly was going on. Um,
so it's Kevin, Nick, and Joe Jonas. I think Kevin is the oldest, and I think Joe is the middle, is the second oldest, and Nick is the third, and they actually have another brother who was in the movie. Um, Joe Jonas had it, so they all had their real wives played in the movie, their real dad and their real mom, as well as their youngest brother and
mm,
their kids were all in the film. So that was their real things. Joe Jonas is the one he went through a really messy divorce last year, so he's the one who's looking for love. And they're all trying to get back to the US from Europe because they're on tour, and the brothers are performing together, but they really don't care for each other, or they can't seem to personally relate to each other well. And so, through a series of hijinks in which the real Santa Claus shows up, they are made to figure out a way to get back to the US and try to get home before Christmas Day.
mhm.
Um, and so, through a series of hijinks and situations, they have to go through it. And I wouldn't say this film was real cheesy. It certainly was predictable.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're a high definition kind of guy, it was filmed in 4K. So you could see the wrinkles and all. The oldest Jonas brother is my age. And
Huh.
so they're not like spring chickens on the Disney Channel anymore. They're just like guys in their 30s. Like they're all dads in their 30s, and they're dealing with what dads in their 30s are dealing with. Just like, I'm tired and I have to work.
Yeah.
And life is, I've started to realize that all the promises that are made to you when you're a teenager in your early 20s, most of them are not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could see like that's settling in on them. And for me, because they're millennials, I'm a millennial. Sorry, Ken. Um, I was like, wow, why do I relate to this movie? I was like they were singing songs, they were showing pictures of basically what life was like when I was in high school, or what was on TV when I was watching TV like that. I was going like,
Yeah.
wow, there's so much nostalgia. And I think that was probably what's going to sell it to a lot of millennials, maybe some Gen Z who watched it. Um, the music was great. Ken texted me after I told him I was watching it. He texted me the phrase "pizza for two," and I had no idea what he was doing when I said that. Now you had watched it how many days ago? I watched it literally last night.
Like 3 or 4 days ago.
Okay, yeah. So what I didn't realize was that the Jonas Brothers wrote the song "A Sucker for You," and we had a bunch of years back. Ken's family and my family went to a Christian camp where we were there as our students were doing the Christian camp thing. And the camp was actually one of the best Christian camps I've ever been to. Um, my friend who runs it, he had his students do parodies of songs that were popular at the time. And so he made a parody of Sucker for You into a Pizza for Two. And so Ken
Yeah.
texted me that at the beginning of the film. I go like, what are we talking about that for? And then they play a Sucker for You in the film, and I literally text him back in all caps. Like, it's a pizza for two.
Yeah, so that every year they'll do this at the camp, and Friday night or Friday is pizza night, and they do this whole they take whatever popular song is there and they change the words and they do a whole music video, very elaborate.
Oh yeah, they do a
And
great job.
so we had this pizza for two song in our heads. Well, I'm watching the movie, and at the end of the movie, the closing song was this song, and I'm like, "Hey, it's pizza for two." And I'm like, "Oh, I know who they are." I was like the whole movie, I'm like, "The Jonas Brothers, yeah, I've heard of them." My daughter-in-law, she was telling me about them during the whole thing, and like, "Yeah, I've heard of them." But then when I heard that, I'm like, "Oh, now I know who they are. It's Pizza for Two." So, yeah,
So
that was the highlight of, the movie for me, was the end there.
well, A Sucker for You is about how he's so in love with this woman, and parent warning. Pizza for You is like, one of the best lines in Pizza for You is, "And I'll promise to learn your name."
Yep, yep,
Because he's trying to get this girl to like him. "My plan for getting you to like me, it's a pizza for two, because my
and
mom left me some money."
and the spoiler is in the real life, she didn't like him at all. She didn't even
No, she
notice him.
didn't even know who he was.
It was terrible.
He liked the guy who had the Fabio hair.
Yeah, yep,
um,
didn't even know his name.
you can tell like the director was a Gen X guy for using Fabio like hair guy. Anyway, but yeah, the Jonas Brothers movie. I mean, if you got to do the dishes, good in the background, not a let's watch this next year, babe, kind of movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Not gonna make the list of like let's watch this every Christmas. Yeah, it's not gonna do that. It was fun. I caught a couple things that didn't make any sense, like
Like the
in
whole movie?
Britain. Well, yeah. So okay, we watched it last night, so it's a lot fresher in my mind. When they're driving on the road, there's a scene where a truck is jackknifed.
Mhm.
In Britain and in Europe, they don't have trucks that look like American trucks. They don't have,
It's
how
true.
we have like the long deck where the engine case is. They
Yeah,
have flat face trucks.
yeah.
It's because the roads are smaller over there. And so the truck that's Jackknife is an American truck. I'm going like, that's not there.
Yeah.
What was
Kind of makes
another
you
one?
think maybe it wasn't filmed over there either.
Oh, it ends up being it was filmed in Canada.
Ah,
Yes, it was filmed. So the snow was probably real. But so you had the truck that's Jackknife, the American truck. You had the actors like there. If there was an accent, I missed them because everyone seemed to have accents like you and me.
yeah.
And then what was the other one? So this is a huge spoiler. They get back in the U.S., but somehow they end up in the woods. I won't give you how. Maybe you're super excited to watch the Jonas Christmas movie. You
Hmm.
know. So they're walking through the woods. The brothers are mad at each other. They separate their own ways, and they start singing one of the songs. It's actually a pretty good song. But suddenly, the oldest Jonas brother, Kevin, who is walking in the woods by himself, a guitar appears. And just boom, magic guitar.
It's
He plays the
realistic.
guitar, and I'm not kidding. In the movie, while Joe is singing and Nick is singing, when Kevin is playing the guitar, they put up subtitles of the words that he is playing on the guitar. So it's like as if the guitar itself is singing. I just was like, wait. Is the guitar singing right now? Where did he get the guitar?
Yeah.
Next scene, the guitar disappears again. And so the subtitle talking guitar out of nowhere.
I think the whole movie was just a hallucination.
Well,
It just
you
never
know,
revealed that.
Joe Jonas did have a vision at the beginning, so maybe it was just Joe Jonas's vision the whole time.
Yeah.
And that I like I said, you're gonna do the dishes. Yes. It's TV PG, but they swore like 4 or 5 times. There was a scene where Joe and female love interest number 1, whatever her name was, strip down to their undies and jump into cold water. So
Oh,
if
yeah. Right.
these are things you don't want, I would think about letting my kids watch this one. TV
Yeah.
PG does not mean what it used to mean
No.
anymore.
No.
Bad words and not, when they're using biblical words outside of biblical contexts, I would avoid, it's up to the parent, but I would say it was fine. Like I said, if you are really a Jonas Brothers fan, you know what I did like though? Will Ferrell makes a cameo in the movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was funny. He said like I don't know if it was his real wife and his real kids, but he said if my kids and if my 3 kids and the Jonas Brothers were in a plane crash or drowning, I would save the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, that was at the beginning of the movie there. Maybe
Yeah,
it was his hallucination.
you think it was,
That would make sense.
we need to start doing more of these like our fan theories on these films. We
Yeah.
should that should be a bit where
Yeah.
we speculate as to what's happening. So I'll tell you my current fan theory that I have. We have a series of books for our kids called Night Night, the Night Night books. They're talking anthropomorphic animals, and it's like Night Night Train or Night Night Angel or Night Night Zoo, and they talk and they walk and they do people things, and they're saying goodnight. They're always telling you goodnight. And there's exactly one human being in the book. And so I asked Elena after reading the books, I think I discovered the secret of the books, the Night Night books. Like, this is a post-apocalyptic world where people are dying out and animals are replacing them.
Well, that's what Snoopy is. You ever see
That's
any adults? There's never any adults there.
yeah,
And the kids have like we're missing hair and everything. It's a post-nuclear holocaust, and then there's survivors.
and animals are taking the place of people.
Yeah. And Snoopy's more intelligent, and he's working his way up in evolution, and
Yeah.
the animals are going to take over the world.
Maybe the Jonas Brothers is another one of these films where there's secret things happening behind it. I'm convinced. It was all just Will Ferrell's hallucination because he loves the Jonas Brothers these 3 dads in their late 30s more than his
Yeah.
own teenage sons. Yep, that's what it is. That's what it is.
It's a messed up situation there, I'll tell you. Well,
Can I recommend? If you were a big Jonas Brothers fan, it'll be fun. Don't watch with your kids.
yeah, or just don't watch it at all.
Well, see, Ken, that's what we're here to do. We're here to watch it for them.
That's right.
That's
That's
like,
right. So they don't have to. That's
I
what.
mean, if they want to do some homework, you could always disagree with us and leave a comment beneath. We would be totally game for that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, Dave, I think we're coming into our final segment tonight.
Sure.
Are you ready to go? I'm gonna play the intro for it, and
Hey, yeah.
we'll hit it.
So we got a weird one tonight, Ken.
What's that?
So we've been doing a series on creation, and part of creation is the spiritual side.
Mhm.
And so today I'm going to talk about the supernatural parts of creation just a little bit. And so you get into some weird stuff. A lot of people have questions about the supernatural because the Bible it's a supernatural book, but
Right.
it's not really talking about the supernatural in a like, and I mean by that, like, what about ghosts and demons and angels and so on. These things are there, but it doesn't really get into them so much as it talks about what God is doing with man.
Right.
But these are there. And so what is going on with this part of creation? What that is? What is that? Now, I will say this, when you're getting into the supernatural, you need to be aware of what's going on, but I would say don't go looking for it.
Right.
Don't go messing with the supernatural. Don't go playing with things that you shouldn't. You dabble in the supernatural stuff, it dabbles back.
Yeah.
Here's a fun question for you, Ken. Is there any supernatural thing you could say, good or bad, that you say like, oh yeah, I had this experience and I don't know what it was, or I think it was this?
Not off the top of my head. I will say that when I became a Christian, the Holy Spirit definitely intervened in my life, and it was definitely a supernatural thing. As Jesus says, what the Holy Spirit does, he convicts you of your sin, and he points you to the cross, and then points you to the scriptures. But apart from that, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Might be just that my brain is fried tonight, but
Good.
I can't think of anything else that pops in my head that has happened where I would be like, boom, what was that? But I know there are other
So
people. I know other people that have had things that have happened.
yeah, well, I'll put my cards on the table, Ken, for everyone who's watching. You and I have talked about this elsewhere.
Hmm.
I don't believe in aliens, but I do believe in extraterrestrial life.
Hmm.
I believe that what we'll find out there is that there are beings that are outside of our understanding, but really, us Christians have been talking about them the whole time, that are deceptive and that maybe they have technology, maybe they don't. Maybe they display like they have technology. And I do believe that there are demonic forces that are out there, and I even believe that there are angelic forces out there that are doing things that are just beyond our scope and our spectrum. But because this is not we're talking about creation, God didn't just make a physical world. He
Right.
made many levels and layers to this world. There is what we can experience. I heard somebody put it like this, and I think it's correct. Mankind is like an amphibian. It's an animal that lives both on land and in water. We are a creature that lives in both the physical plane and experiences the spiritual realities as well. That's who we are. Why we're like that, because we're made and we look like God.
Hmm.
And so God, of course, is in the supernatural realm at all times. That's where the Heavenly Father is. That's where Jesus himself is currently, is in the basically in the heaven where God is. But Jesus will one day be on our realm of existence as well. And I'm using words like realm. These are not biblical words. I'm just using these words. Okay.
Right.
But there are supernatural things out there. I'm convinced that the supernatural world has as much diversity and speciation as the physical world does. So have fun with that, Ken.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you and I have
um,
talked about this before.
I'm convinced that there are things that we'll never know about in the spiritual realm because we just don't need to know about them. Like, hey, look, like maybe there's the spiritual equivalent of a dog, and we don't need to know about that.
Mhm.
The way the Bible talks about things is it talks like as if there are actions going on behind the curtain that we are not privy to and that we're just not going to be privy to. So you might have seen old cartoons where they had like people storing snow in the clouds. I wouldn't be surprised if that behind these physical actions of crystallization of water in cloud up in the upper atmosphere, that there's something supernatural going on.
Mm.
Um, I have no proof of that. I think there is some biblical leanings to it. I think that you see, for instance, when they're talking about the trees clapping or the water or the mountains speaking, I don't think that the psalmist was being just poetic.
Gotcha.
And so, like we know for in today's science, for example, we know that trees, in a sense, communicate to each other. Like if one tree gets sick or if one tree has pests, the other trees around it will help it. We've seen that. We can see that happening. We know that certain animal species like whales and dolphins are able to communicate, and they're pretty sure that whales have accents, like with orcas. It's
Huh.
crazy.
Huh.
So we do believe that there is levels of intelligence out there. But so with that, all that to say is that there are supernatural spiritual intelligences out there. There just are. Um, and they're good and they're bad. You look
Yeah.
into, I was looking into this, doing some real homework. I think is it Saint Athanasius tells a story about how about a saint in the desert of Egypt, and how when he was walking around, he came across a Christian centaur,
Huh.
horseman.
Huh.
And the centaur testified that he believed in the Lord. And that was that.
Huh.
There's another case story where that same one ran across a Christian satyr. That's a guy who's got a bottom of a goat, horns of a goat, but a torso, and a head of a man.
Huh.
And that he had testified the Lord Jesus, and then he walked back to the city of Alexandria and he died, and then they shipped the body of the satyr to Emperor Constantine, who saw the corpse.
Huh.
And so you have in Christian history, you have Christians testifying, running into supernatural things. The Bible talks about ghosts, which just scares the dickens out of me. But you have, for example, when Saul goes to the witch of Endor, yes, there's a witch.
Mhm.
Uh, she's asked to summon the dead Samuel, who is a biblical judge, and she summons him, and she is shocked.
Yeah.
Um, so that's a ghost. Definitionally, that's a ghost.
Yeah.
Um, Now, God warns us in His Word, you're not to mess with this stuff.
Right.
So when you hear this and you're a Christian, if magic is real. It is not just the sleight of hand. We're talking about there are real forces out there. Now, I think Ken, you and I might agree that it's probably demonically powered stuff. It's not like you know magic in books is different than magic in reality. Magic in books is it's just like electricity. It's just helpful, to, storytelling device.
Mhm.
But magic in reality is dangerous.
Yeah.
Uh, because you're consorting with things that are supernatural. Um, these
Yep.
demonic entities can fake a lot of things. If you read the book of Exodus, um, the sorcerers there contending with Moses were doing real supernatural things through their powers.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about that. Yeah, I mean, that's like, people will theorize, were they actually doing real things, or was it sleight of hand? But it's like they changed their staffs into snakes and stuff. It's like, sounds real to me. And again, we know that you know Satan can mimic some of the things that God can do. Some of them to a limit. So, and if he's the father of lies, why not mimic and pretend, and deceive people, um, into thinking, that you're a force for good, when in reality, you're not. So, I mean, we have people today that are playing around with spiritual things, and they have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what they're messing with,
Oh
you know?
yeah, we'll have to get into
And
that for a little bit here. But let me
yeah.
just give you some names that the Bible uses for like for demons. They use of course they're fallen angels, there's demons. There is in Jude verse 13 wandering stars. Ephesians calls them sons of disobedience. Exodus calls them false gods. And then they were formerly called the sons of God.
Mhm.
Um, Wandering stars. This will be fun for you, Ken. I don't know if we talked about this. Do you know that wandering star in the Greek is the word planetos?
Mm-mm.
Planetos is where we get our word planet. Um, so literally, people in the past would look up to the heavens. They'd see Mars moving in the same direction it always does. They would assume that is. They didn't think they might have thought that was a planet. They probably thought that was a spiritual entity.
Mm.
And same thing for Jupiter and Venus. They'd see these and they'd all walk on the same path all the time.
Right.
But you also read stories of other major things moving across the sky, these wandering stars. And
Mm.
then, of course, we get into the New Testament. The wise men see a wandering star and it leads
Yeah.
them to Jerusalem.
Mhm.
And so this isn't unusual. These things are up there. The question is, whose side are they on?
Right.
um, the thing about demons, this is something that I don't want to scare people, but to put it in real perspective, they have all the powers of an angel, which an angel can destroy myriads and myriads of people in a heartbeat. An
Mhm.
angel in the book of Revelation, John falls to his feet before it because he's so humbled by it. And he's told by the angel not to do that.
Right.
um, these things are perfect. Well, they're not perfect, excuse me, but they're powerful. They have all the characteristics of angels. They're powerful, they're wise, they're quick, they're speedy, they're invisible, and they're undying. And so these things are out there and they're watching. The thing that a Christian has to know is that all authority on heaven and earth has been given unto me, is what Jesus says. And he says, therefore go. So you and I have derivative power from the Lord Jesus over these things. And you see that acted out in the book of Acts where the men are driving out demons. And so when you're in a spiritual situation, you have nothing to fear if you rely and trust in Christ with your heart, with your soul, and all your mind.
Right.
I can tell you, I do have a few of those weird, not a few, I have more than a few, unfortunately, weird spiritual experiences. My part of my family was very much into the occult,
Mm.
and that stuff sticks around.
Yeah.
You don't dabble in it because it's like catching a disease and it holds on to you. Now, by the power of Christ, you can be freed from it and it could leave your family. But because of so much exposure to the occult when I was a child, um, Ken and I have talked about this. I've seen things that are as clear as he is to me right now on the screen that would scare most people because it's
Mm.
real. It's really out there. I've
Yeah.
been on experiences where somebody would scream at my face saying, "I know I know about your Jesus." When we were sharing through street preaching, there is stuff out there that I actually, Ken, I don't know how you think about this. I think that the spiritual world, if it was like looking at at a lake, it's like the fish are right at the surface, not
Yeah.
out of it. But sometimes if you ever see a fish at the surface of a pond, its tail will come out of the water, or its
Mhm.
back fin. I feel like today our spiritual situation is where demons and false entities are right at the surface, and sometimes one of their fins just slightly comes out of the water.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you've been following the modern spiritual stuff, but like on TikTok, they have witch talk now, where
Hmm.
people will buy and sell spells and curses,
Hmm.
or they'll teach how to do spells and curses. And if y- I would say this, when I was a youth pastor, I would always tell, after a while, it was this more came out after I was out of it. But people don't know just how much of that stuff is their children are being exposed to now.
Yeah.
And we watch movies. We haven't gotten into it, but if you really listen, it's all throughout movies too now. Like
Yeah.
it's worse than ever. The spiritual realities are there. This might be, let me take a bridge a little far here. I wouldn't be surprised if there are out and out spiritual entities walking or working among us in the next 10 years, the way things are right now.
Yeah.
And they're not going to call themselves that, but
No. No.
I wouldn't be surprised. Major influencers and podcasters and political speakers talk about doing hard drugs like DMT, and they see what's called the serpent god.
Mhm. Yep.
Every Christian should be like, wait, who?
Right.
Because
Right.
we have a serpent god in the Bible, y'all.
Mhm. Back in
um,
Genesis.
and he's there in Revelation. He's there the whole time.
Yep.
Um, and what does the serpent god do if you listen to these accounts? He asks them, let me inside you.
Yeah.
That should scare the dickens out of you.
You know,
So
as you've been talking about this, it reminds me we've had we've had a couple of people at least that have showed up to our church, and they were clearly, you know, drug minded, and the things that they would say. I mean, we had to have one guy trespassed and just off his rocker, claimed he was Jesus Christ, and just we were able to get into his Facebook account. I mean, the demonic stuff he had on there. I have no doubt that we're walking among people who are demon possessed today, and they're, they'll walk into a church, and they'll target a church that's preaching the word of God, and go nuts. So we've seen some of that in our church. We've seen that happen, and it's like I chalk it up to that. Like you were talking about with the drugs. That's a gateway to the
oh yeah,
spirit world. You know, and you talked to like some of these people have talked about their experiences. It gives me chills. I'm like, you people have no idea what you're doing.
yeah,
What you're messing with. And certainly as Christians, we need to be mindful of that and warn our children and stay away from that stuff. My wife has. You talk about the things that you've seen. My wife, similar background, where she was exposed to some of that stuff as a child, and even though she's a Christian, it's like it opens a door, it opens a
yep,
window, and you're never away from that. It's still there. She's aware of these things I've never seen that she has seen,
yeah. She and
just
I have
because of
had
that.
several conversations about it. I think there was a time where we both ran into something at the same time.
Yeah.
It's it's something else. I would just say, so if you're a parent, and you're listening to this. Number one, yes, don't let your kids play with the Ouija boards. Yes, don't
Nope.
let your kids play with tarot cards. Why? Do those things in themselves have power? No. But they are expected to do this. And so these entities will gladly use them.
Yes.
There are many things that they will gladly do. Do not, please hear me. This is not just, a pastor being very conservative. Do not go out of your way to use hard drugs. Don't do drugs. Seriously, stay away from any drug. If you have
Yeah.
to be narcotic for a disease or a symptom, please don't be on it very long.
Yeah.
And I say that out of love. I am not a doctor. I cannot address every situation. I really cannot. But the word for witchcraft in the New Testament is pharmakeia. Pharmakeia is where we get our word pharmacy.
Mhm.
Drugs are used as a gateway for these things to happen. I'm not saying if you're having like severe pain that you shouldn't use your stuff. I get it. I get it. But please remember this stuff is dangerous. So I don't know, Ken, we don't really get political, but I'll say this. Last election, there was a proposition in Florida legalizing certain drugs. And
Mhm.
I told the people from the pulpit, like, guys, you have to vote no. As your pastor, you have to vote no.
Right.
Like, wow, why could you say that? It's just legalizing marijuana. Um, and what I shared with them is that the same thing I just shared with you. And I think that when you open the door, the Bible says you cast out one demon and then 7 more come back with it.
Mhm.
Drugs are made illegal in this country. If we open the door, it's got to be 7 times worse.
Yeah.
And you look at states in which these recreational drugs have been legalized, they are the ones that are in the most trouble right now. Uh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you go to the state of Oregon where everything is legal. Like, can you imagine the spiritual entities that are flooding in through that doorway?
Louisiana is another
Yeah.
one. New Orleans. I've been to New Orleans, and I'll tell you, you know, again, as my memory being jogged here, it's been a few years since I've been there, but there is a spiritual heaviness over that city, unlike
Well,
anything I've ever felt.
I think
And
that there's a lot more going on than just the drugs there. I do
yeah.
think that you have historical associations with voodoo, um,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and you have that's a whole other kit and caboodle. We'll have to do a weird stuff day, but that's not today. Like a real weird stuff day.
Yeah.
Um, You want to hear one of my maybe one of my I don't know that I can say this biblically, but I think it's true. I really believe that there are entities that control certain regions. Um, I based that out of the book of Daniel, where the Messiah where Michael was contending with the prince over Persia.
Mm,
And so
yeah.
I really believe that there are certain entities that have dominion over certain regions. And I think you can base that also off of what Jesus says that I've given you authority over powers and principalities. And so I
Right.
do think that there are some entities that, like you're saying, New Orleans has something. There might be something literally sitting on that city.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and there you go. That's as crazy as I'll let y'all get with me. But I really do. When you were out there, just stay away from that stuff. Don't mess with it. Don't play with it. I knew a pastor who was witnessing to a person who was a witch, and this person had said they're going to become a believer. He went to this person's house, and they were throwing out the books, thousands of dollars worth of books. And after a while, this person couldn't throw them out anymore. Well, just not that one, and not that
Mm,
one, because what happened was that information and those entities were just grabbed it. You want to hear
yeah.
something really creepy that happened recently? Speaking of the spell book, um, I saw it was 2 or 3 spell books for sale at the local used bookstore, going for about $2,000.
Wow.
Um, if I had the
Mm,
money, I would have bought them to burn them, but
yeah.
I won't name what they were. I won't even say anything more than that. But I saw them and I was, maybe because I'm wired to be more sensitive, I saw that stuff. And that's 4 minutes away from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy stuff. And so anyway, let me land the plane with this. Number one, spiritual warfare is real. You have the victory in Jesus. Jesus says that you're more than conquerors. So you
Mhm.
have nothing to fear. Number two, don't go playing. Don't play around. Just don't do it.
No.
You know what? Life is hard enough. Don't open that door. Um,
No.
if God wanted you to open that door, he would tell you in his word to do it. And your God is a loving heavenly father. He's not hiding anything from you. He has Everything you need is revealed in his word. In fact, as you discover his word, it brings him happiness and delight. God loves when you understand his word more. You don't need to go outside of it and the things outside of it. Little sin always grows up in a big sin.
Yeah.
So just stay away. Just stay away. You're better off for it. That's what I have there.
Well, on that note, David, I
I
think we're
told you it'd
gonna
be weird.
we're gonna end this session, and everyone that's watching is gonna have nightmares tonight. So
Oh, don't put that on me. Don't put that on me. You can't put that on me.
no, that was good though. Yeah, definitely. Join us again next week. We're gonna go into some more cheesy movies
Oh
and
yeah.
get into some more Bible. Definitely. So,
Hey, in
um,
2 weeks, so on the 18th, that's going to be our last before we're going to take a break for Christmas week. I'm going to be doing the history and myth busting on Christmas. So if you're like, hey, Christmas was a pagan holiday, spoiler alert, Christmas was not a pagan holiday. And I'll explain that why on the 18th. You should check it out. The history of Christmas, if you want to know where it comes from, hey, we'll do that. I promise you, I'll try to not keep that boring. Um, but come on out. There's a lot of we talked about this. There's a lot of stuff out there people believe at Christmas that make no sense.
yeah,
Um, we were just talking about supernatural stuff. We won't run into that then, but there is a lot more real than probably people understand. Yes, by the way, I'll give you one big spoil. Jesus probably was born on December 25th.
you'll have to come back and hear that on that date. We're not gonna say anything else about that. So, want to know more about that? And that join us then. And then we're also doing what the 29th. We'll be doing which is a Monday. We'll be doing a special
For New
because
Year's.
of yeah, for New Year's. So keep that in mind too. And yeah, well, it was good. I think we'll end with that. And everybody have a good night. And we'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.